Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the progress report for November 2024. This is the video where I let you know how it's been going with all my fountain pens and inks that I've been writing with for the month. So we'll start out with a report card so I don't forget it. And then we'll move into the specific pages where I have done longer writing samples. So the first combination was my Benu Euphoria in the pink. Did I lose my how to say it? No, it's up here. Guava. I don't know why I can't remember that, but I can't seem to. I have J.R. Bond Emerald of Chivor 1670. It's a shimmer ink in it, and it's an A+. It's been excellent. I have no issues whatsoever. In fact, I'm thinking I may have used quite a bit of the ink. Let's see. It's hard to tell, but it looks like it's right there. You know how this is a really saturated ink, so it coats the converter, but just fantastic. Really, really enjoy this one. And we'll look at a more thorough writing sample in a minute. Okay, then next up is another Benu, the Briolette in Luminous Amber with a broad nib. And I have in this one, Pilot Horsetail Brown, or this is the actual name of the ink, but I can't pronounce it very well. It has some water resistance, and this has been great. I love this. I actually made a note. I was looking at the pen real good, and I thought next I'd like to try the Pelikan 4001 Brilliant Brown. I was like, BB? What's that? Brilliant Brown. I'm going to try in this next, but this is an A+ too. It's been super nice to write with for pen pal letters and journaling too, but mostly for letters. Okay, then next up is the Lamy Safari Charcoal with platinum carbon black, and this has been wonderful. I've been using this to address envelopes. I gave it an A+. It's been super reliable. Not sure how much of it I've used. It is an extra fine nib, so it's going to probably take a while to use all that. Fill up. Gosh, it hardly looks like it's moved, but it may be another case of a dark ink saturating, kind of coating the converter. But I love it, and I can trust this for envelopes, because even if it moves a little, it's not going to destroy the writing underneath. I mean, I can tell from this little water test, it'll be just fine. So I've also used it some in my bullet journal, but it's also competing with the with this one. I've got this TWSBI Eco inked up with cross black, which I really like in my bullet journal too. I'm not concerned about permanent ink in the bullet journal, but I really have enjoyed this. Okay, so then next up was the Lamy Safari, and well, I was finding it listed as Terra Red. Other people were mentioning Terracotta, which I was confused too, but I found it listed Terra Red, and I thought, that seems strange. I don't know. Maybe it's listed different in different markets, but I'm not too worried. It's just this is the pen, and we're becoming familiar with it. And I did put in Robert Oster Antelope Canyon, Pen Chalet exclusive, Robert Oster ink. And, I like this combination, but it's lighter than I would like once I write quite a bit with it. So that was really something. I'm thinking that in a number 6 nib with a larger feed, like in a Benu or even a Jinhao X750, I might like it better because I really love it in the beginning, like say the first segment of my page, and then it starts to kind of fade out on me a little bit. I do write really fast, but that's still a pretty good grade. I mean, I still really enjoy this color, and I like the combination very much. So, but we'll look at some more specific on the page, and you'll probably be able to see what I'm talking about. So next up was the Opus 88 Koloro in red, and I put Ferris Wheel Press Algonquin Maple, one of my very favorite red inks, and it never disappoints. It's an A+. It's an old favorite combination, and I just really love it. it's the flow and it's the beauty of the ink and the name. I think the name itself, Algonquin Maple, it kind of evokes Vermont in the fall, my home state, and it just it's just all the way around very pleasing. So, okay, next up is my Lamy 80 with a real Lamy. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm making a mistake. Jinhao 80. Jinhao 80 with a real Lamy nib on it, and it's the Lamy Calligraphy nib. What I meant to say was this is the gold trim on this Jinhao 80. And I did put Lamy Dark Lilac in here. Now, I put B+. I'm not thrilled with this. It's reliable, but I'm not actually enjoying how the ink looks in this. I think I actually would rather use a Lamy fine nib because I'm not really benefiting from the calligraphy nib with this ink, and I don't know whether it's because it's so flowy. I haven't really figured that out yet. It is very flowy, but so it may be that I kind of lose a little bit of that line variation due to that, but that's just a real speculation and kind of a rookie thing. I don't know. I'm not really experienced with the Lamy Calligraphy nib, and I'm really looking for ink that I'll like with it, you know. So I think maybe I will put a different nib on that same pen and get more out of it. We'll see. You know, I may enjoy it better. Okay, so next up is the Moonman P136 in blue with a medium nib, and it's got the Conway Stewart Tamar, and I just love this. I mean, it's such a fun pen to write with. It's a piston filler, and it has perfect flow, and the nib is super smooth, as if somebody had like worked on it, and I don't think they did. This was a pen friend gift, but it's just amazing. It's super smooth, reliable, and I love it. I mean, I will be sad when the fill finishes, so I've been using it a lot, even for my journaling. Okay, then next up is a TWSBI Eco in Jade with a broad nib and Monteverde Olivine. I had a little bit of trouble with this that I didn't anticipate. I still love it. I gave it an A- though. I had some flow issues where I would suddenly be realizing that I had to kind of encourage the ink flow. And I don't know what's up with that. That's very unusual. It's a Monteverde ink for one thing, and it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's fantastic till it's not. Now, I didn't have any trouble just sort of encouraging a little bit with the piston knob. Luckily, I didn't end up with a splatter of ink or anything. I was just real careful about it. And I always have my little trusty, you know, rag or paper towel around. But it was a little bit frustrating because I love this ink. Anyway, we'll look at the writing sample. I'm not sure that the writing sample here will prove it, but I used it a lot for letters. And I did get frustrated a couple times. So, okay. So next up, this is a complete switcheroo here. When I came on with my Chris's inked pens, it wasn't this pen. It was the TWSBI Eco Rose Gold and White, but it had a stub nib, and I wasn't real happy with it. It was a case where it wrote really good for the first couple sentences, and then I just saw fade out. And I thought that I just wasn't, you know, outputting the ink well enough. So I decided I wanted to use, I thought this was a broad nib, but it sure writes like a medium. I can't even see that. Let's see. Yeah, it's a medium. So I made a mistake. I thought I was putting it into a broad nib, but it's still, the flow has been much more reliable and super awesome once I swapped it. I would have to give it, in the stub nib, I'd have to give it an A- or even a B+, but with this switch to this pen, it's an A+. And I super love this ink. It's just gorgeous. Wait till you see. Whoops. Here's the ink tile card, but we have a larger writing sample and a bunch of painted on paint where I got carried away with my writing in here and I had to cover it up. So we get some really beautiful purple to look at. Okay, and then there's one more pen that we're not going to do till we get to the page because it just came in yesterday and I'm excited about showing you the pen and everything. So, but we'll do that when we come to it. Okay, so we'll probably go through these pretty fast, but this is the Benu Euphoria in pink Guava with the Emerald of Chivor, and super good. No, there's no fade out, no lack of flow in this pen whatsoever. Just wonderful. And it looks super with a water brush. So that's going to be a really favorite combination, I think. Maybe it'll end up in the Christmas pen, the Vodka on the Rocks, but it's because it doesn't actually match. The ink doesn't really match this pen at all. This is a different green. But anyway, the nib unit and everything is what I really love, you know, how it outputs. So then next was the Benu Briolette in Luminous Amber. And this is that Pilot Horsetail Brown. It always amazes me how reddish it looks when you get a water brush on it. But it looks pretty brown in the nib. And this is the chromatography, so that you can see it. Whoops, now I got to get this straight again. That's always fun. Okay, so then next was the Lamy Safari in Charcoal. And I did a little comparison in a way. I was noticing how similar, so all of this is the Lamy Safari Extra Fine with Platinum Carbon Black. And I noticed that the TWSBI Eco and Extra Fine is very similar looking, and maybe just, well, no, yeah, it's very similar line width and everything, and I was kind of almost equally pleased. So here's a side-by-side right here. It actually looks like the Safari is putting down a little bit more ink. No, now I've got to remember that's two different inks. That's comparing apples and oranges, because this Lamy Safari had carbon black and the Eco has cross black. So that looks a little darker. That might be why. Anyway, they're very similar, and I'm equally pleased with either one for my bullet journal. But it's, of course, the Platinum Carbon Black is just that much better for envelopes. So that's been really a nice thing to have. Okay, so over here, maybe you can see, because this is the Lamy Safari Terra Red with the Robert Oster Antelope Canyon, and I just feel like it's, of course, when you add water, you use the water brush, you get it watered down, but it just doesn't maintain putting down enough ink for me. So I think a flex nib or something much more gushy would be super good. Okay, so this was November 5th and November 6th, and yeah, I couldn't trust myself to be writing in a journal election day or the day after, so I had to like get rid of some of my ugly thoughts, and I got rid of them. Okay, and then next up is my favorite ink there, the Algonquin Maple, and it's just really cheerful and bright, and I love it. And that's in the Opus 88, the Koloro Red. So again, I love this, and I do this almost every fall, or, you know, for us, fall comes kind of late here, but I just love it, and I don't have any problems with flow or anything else with that. Okay, then over here, this is the Jinhao 80 black and gold with the Lamy Calligraphy nib. And, you know, it's not too bad on here. I think where I might have had more, I didn't like it as much on the Life paper, and that's what I'm using for letter writing right now. So it's a cream paper, and it's a little drier of a paper. But on Tomoe River 68 GSM, I did get along pretty good with it. That looks pretty nice. And it looks really purple to my eye. It may not to you, because the lights tend to darken, make the ink look so dark. But yeah, this is just really beautiful. And when you hit it with a water brush, you get the most beautiful purple ever. So there we go. And then, okay, so over here, this is the Moonman P136 with the Conway Stewart Tamar. And it's just gorgeous. I wouldn't think I would even, you know, be excited about it. It's just a basic blue, but I like it. It really flows really well. It turns out it has a lot of purple in it there in the chromatography. It's a wet ink, so that's something. And I don't know where you live, maybe you can get it, you know, easier, find where they sell it if you're in the UK or you're somewhere on the same continent or nearby. So it's really nice. I have a nice, generous sample from a pen friend, and I've really been enjoying it. Okay, and then next up was the Monteverde Olivine. Let me look back and see what it was Yeah, I said I had some flow issues. Again, my flow issues really came up when I was working on my letter writing, and I've almost exclusively been using this paper, which I love this paper. It's been fantastic. It's got, I actually want to do a review on it if I can do it before I run out. It's got the line grid, and it's you know, on the front anyway. And I've loved it because it fits in my 5x7 envelope so nicely too. It really is nice. It's perfect size. And the paper's smooth. But I really get along better with this TWSBI Eco Broad with the Monteverde Olivine on Tomoe River paper. And I even said consider purchase. Yeah, really nice. Again, I must have either got carried away or else I made a mistake. But that's a pretty mistake. I like to see the ink like that. Okay, so next up, okay, so this will be both the TWSBI Eco with the stub, which I don't have that pen out, and the TWSBI Eco with the, that's a mistake. It's not a broad. I thought it was a broad, but it's a medium nib. Kind of explains why why it wasn't quite writing as broad as I thought. And this is with the Conway Stewart Edgecomb. Gee, I don't remember getting that out before, but anyway, sometimes memory and everything just doesn't work good. Anyway, I love this, but I didn't get along with it as well. My letter writing is my daily thing, and so that would be where I would run into several different opportunities to see how it was working. Definitely got along with it better in this pen. So wonderful, wonderful. But when you paint this on to cover up your things you said you wished you hadn't said, or things you don't want to represent yourself with, it looks beautiful. So just saying, we can go back over and get rid of our ponderings that we don't really want to look at. And yeah, I just went to town with that. That's wonderful. Okay, so that brings me to the new pen that came into my world. And it's called a Churchill pen. It's a kit. And then this is from Pen Friend MS Chu. And he said in a note through the email that he cast his own resin. And it is just gorgeous. I mean, it's so pretty. I'm not sure that the computer, the lighting and everything is going to do it justice, but it's gorgeous. And it's a nice heavy pen. It's got a broad Yo-O nib on it. And this came with 3 sections. Let me show you. Because, I mean, I just got it 2 days ago. Or 2 days ago? Something like that. Anyway, I am using the metal section. And so the metal section's on here. And then it has an ebonite section, which is this one. This is the ebonite section. So they're all just a little bit different. And then this one is, I think, made on the 3D printer, if I'm not mistaken. So that's an interesting, fun thing. Let's see. Actually, they go like this, yeah. So that the nib unit goes into this end of them. Really, really cool. It's going to be fun. I'm going to test, try each one and let him know, like thoughts and how it goes. But with this metal section so far, it was working really well. And it's just a really nice weight. It reminds me a lot of the Jinhao X750, maybe a little bit heavier. I'll have to compare it. But I was inspired to do a little art, but I didn't get the color right. See how I picked up sort of like pink? And this looks a lot more like peach almost today, now that the initial super excitement wore off and I realized, oh, okay, I just grabbed up the nearest pen that had a similar color that I could use for a wash in it. But yeah, it's really nice. Now, of course, I haven't written with it but a little bit, but I gave it an A+, and I really like it. And I said, try a pink or a salmon ink color. There was an ink color that I had that kind of went with this, but I'm trying to think. It might have been like, it's some kind of something of the tropics by J.R. Bond, and I can't think I'll have to go through my tiles because that's where I can find, you know, these. I can find that one even if I've already used the ink, or maybe I'll be able to find the leftover ink sample. But I thought, ooh, that would make a nice, yeah, it was something of the tropics, and maybe you'll recognize the name. So I'm just really excited about this and expect to see more about this one. Okay, so I think that is it for here. Maybe not, maybe just one more thing. I will the pens over, so I've got them all in the tray, and I've actually got 11 here, but that's because I am continuing to study these three that I have those Conway Stewart inks in, and I'll get I've got all of the little tiles for that. So I've got 3, let's see. Oh, I've got tiles everywhere. So I've got the Conway Stewart Tavy in this one, in the Eco, and then I've got the Conway Stewart Tamar in the Moonman, and then the purple, of course, I've got the Edgecomb in the other Eco. So that was kind of a little side project, was really getting to know these inks, and I love them. They are so flowy, they're bright, they're, you know, they're very straightforward, no water resistance or anything, but they're just beautiful inks. So thank you to Pen Friend MB for sending these. And so this is what I've been primarily working with for letter writing. And of course, this one's the newbie here. And I can't even name a favorite because I've been really having a good time. Of course, this one is really, like, it's like the first one I usually try to reach for. This one I haven't reached for quite as quickly because of the problems with it not seeming to give me as much of you know, saturation or show in my writing for letter writing. Let's see. And then again, I really think with a different nib, I'd be super excited about the Lamy Dark Lilac. I know I would be. And yet, I'm not going to give up on that calligraphy nib yet. So the writing has been key to my sanity and to getting or trying to create a positive sort of forward, like, motion and living and journaling and writing letters. And let's go to the library and we'll just chat a little bit more, okay? There, so here we are in the library. I brought the pen with me. It's just so beautiful. And it was such a surprise. I was going to say shock. Yeah, it was a shock. Like, oh my goodness. I was thinking about it too. I thought, oh, I wish I had the skills and all the equipment to, you know, run a lathe and use a 3D printer. I'd make pens. And then I thought, it's a good thing I don't, because that's all I would do, I'm sure, you know. If I could produce something this pretty, that's all I would do. And probably where every penny of my money would go to. So it's probably a good thing I don't do that. But I really enjoy trying out and writing with unique pens like that. So it's a lot of fun. And it's just beginning because I just got it. So let's see, I had a bunch of topics and different things. It's a mishmash of things, actually. We woke up to cooler weather today. It's a little bit warm now, or warmer. But I think it was 63 overnight, which is like, almost feels cold to us here in South Texas because we had a super hot, like 5 whole months. And it was looking like we were going to have 6 whole months of just really intense heat, but it's starting to, you know, kind of give us a little alternating, a few breaks here and there. And I don't think we're going to see super cold weather this winter, which I guess is okay with me, but I would really like a little more dry, cool. I don't want to be wearing shorts in November, December. Oh, I just don't. But I'm not today. I'm wearing my jeans. So woke up and had our truck all loaded up to go to the dump, but I got up early because I had a 16-page application for my mom to fill out. It's like it's not really recertification. It's the state of Vermont had they did the COVID thing and they didn't do the paperwork for Medicaid for like 3 years. And then last year was a huge snafu. They sent me the recertification for her, and I did it, and I mailed it right in. And then I got a paper several weeks later saying, you know, you've been dropped because you didn't do the, you know, you've lost your health care because you didn't do the form. And I was like, I called them immediately. I certainly did. This is a date that I have the copies. I have everything. And they said, oh, yes, ma'am, we have so many. We haven't been able to process them. But, oh, to get a letter like that. So this year is a little bit of a PTSD about it, but I got it in the mail today. I mean, I spent several hours on it, got it ready. But this year, I'm going to call them and verify receipt and be like, you know, be doing, I mean, I've never had to do that before, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to rest assured that everything's okay for mom's health care unless I talk to them and sort of spur a human to actually make sure, you know, that they're actually going to process the application, because that's too much on my heart. I might lose my heart if I like feel like I've done anything to cause any problem. So but it felt really good to get that in the mail. But it's just generally, it really has been a busy time, but it was a real successful operation for, you know, eye surgery for my family member on the 1st of November. So that's all been working out really good. And I feel like, you know, I still want to make my videos, write my pen pal letters, do my things in order then that I feel really good about the other stuff that I have to do, like, or the, you know, the things that are required. But you know, it would be easy to just say, oh, I don't have time anymore, you know, for the fun stuff. But I've got some good role models where that's just not how to feel good about life. You've got to make time for your own endeavors and projects in order to just, you know, then be able to more attack the workload and stuff and do good at it, I think. So that's my opinion anyway. I did have one mistake, well, that I know of. I got a letter back from you know, from the U.S. Post Office saying no such address, and I looked at it and I went into my pen pal little file, and sure enough, I had left out 2 numbers of the address of the, you know, like the, I don't know, house number or what, but anyway, so let's see, I've written this down. Pen friend Julie, your letter has been resent with another note in there and everything, and apologies. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And that makes me feel bad because the person might think, you know, okay, I didn't get a letter back, you know. So anyway, I got to slow down, you know, and try to double check my addresses and stuff. That was definitely my thing. And now it's well, as I am filming this, it's November 14th, but we're looking at what, I don't know, a week and a half or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, something like that. And that's because it's later this year, but we're getting ready for that. And that's going to be here again this year. So I guess there'll be 4 or 5 of us. So I'm sort of thinking, OMG, it's going to be a real big marathon cleaning because I'm not I'm not the greatest housekeeper when I'm just running around, you know, doing appointments and paperwork and you name it. Plus, you have to have time to read. So, oh my goodness. I have, let's see, I had books to talk about, but it's a little bit of a, I've got the book on Antoinette Zettelkasten that I'm almost ready to do a video on it, but I keep kind of, you know, it's about an analog system and it's really, really awesome, but it's something that I don't want to, I'm not sure if I can do it justice to do the video. And it for some reason, I guess I've had long enough time to second guess myself, because normally I've just, you know, anything I'm that enthusiastic about, by now I would have the video done. But I took that really bad fall and then I couldn't hold the book up anymore. And I've since finished the book, but then I had so much time to talk myself into like, well, you know, you're not really an expert on that subject. And so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, now I have 2 more books that I'm really into. I always like to tell you what I'm reading, just in case you're looking for ideas. Actually, I got these 2 ideas from one from a YouTuber and one from a viewer YouTuber. So this one I'm super excited about. This is called Behave, The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst by Robert M. Sapolsky. I'm not sure how you say his name. It's a thick book. It's a lot of pages. I think it's like, well, if you include all the index, it's 790 pages. I really am a glutton, aren't I? But this was recommended by, I was going to say a pen friend, but no, this was recommended by a YouTuber who does a creative and, I would say minimalist, but simple living and creative channel. And every time I have gotten a book that she recommended, I absolutely loved it. And so this is like the third or fourth one that was a recommendation from Anna, and I, got it, and I have not started it yet, but I've read the back, and I'm really, really excited to read it. And it was highly recommended by her, and I resonate so much with the things she talks about. So I've got it up here in the honor spot, where that means, that's like next for nonfiction. And then one of the, oh my goodness, I'm not very organized because I'm going to completely fail to remember the name of the person who recommended this one, which is embarrassing because it's nuts. I watch her channel and everything. But this was a viewer recommendation, The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley, and it looked like a book that both Manuel and I would like to read. And so it just looks really good. In fact, Manuel was reading the back and said, well, are you going to read it right away? And I was showing him that I have my fiction book that I'm just about to finish, and then I'll read it. But I told him he could read it first. Then I looked in the back and I saw another one by her called The Outlaws of Sherwood. And that looked really good. It said, in the tradition of T.H. White's reincarnation of King Arthur, a novel that brings Robin Hood delightfully to life. So I'm really looking forward to this, especially with the cooler weather, with the cats all on the couch with me in the evening, and exploring a new book. So this is going to be good. Anything that I can do that's positive, that can help me help myself move forward in a positive way. So, gosh, that was a lot of spewing of stuff. But I guess that's what I do when I'm just trying to, I just try to keep myself busy. But I don't want to be so busy that I can't, relax and breathe and clean the house and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. There's always a reckoning every November when I have to start deep cleaning. And I've got the other things that go beyond cleaning that I'd like to fix first, but I'm not sure we're going to get quite that far just in a couple weeks or a week and a half. I need to look at a calendar to get myself grounded in reality, I think. And then I had a question, which is totally off topic. I guess most all of what I've been talking about here is off topic. We are looking for security cameras, and we are not at all sure what to get. It's just, I think I need specific recommendations. We've got a great Wi-Fi that's powerful and everything, fast upload, download, all of that. And I've got the smartphone that's decent enough, that's new enough, that should interface with any app. But there's just a rash of crime right next door that's happening with a neighbor. It happened to him, and there's all kinds of, on the app, the neighborhood watch type app, there's a whole bunch of really rotten things going on. So we feel like we need to get cameras. And every time I look at them, my mind just gets boggled about all these different specs. And it's like, I don't think we need like 5 or 6. I think we need 2, one for the front door and one for where the garage is. But it just, I'm not ashamed to admit that it is so out of my wheelhouse. It's just, we're not going to wire anything in, so it's probably got to be wireless. And we went to Walmart to look at them, and it was like, oh, I don't know. I just literally don't know. So I'll do more research. But if you happen to have a recent experience with that subject, I welcome all suggestions, because Manuel's really good at setting things up and, well, I was going to say wiring, which we're not actually going to wire. I don't think that makes sense for us. There's quite a distance involved from the garage. It's a detached garage. And we just want to have a good view without having to go out there. And maybe some evidence if there is anything that happens, you know. But yeah, so that's something that we're working on. And but the writing continues, and I've got a bunch of thank yous to write, and caught up enough that I feel like I'm going to be able to get a little beyond just trying to respond to what came in. So that's good, because that includes Christmas cards. If I say if, but I always write some. I try, you know, and sometimes I end up aborting in the middle because realistically, I sometimes don't have much realisticness when it comes to how much time I have versus, you know, what I'm trying to accomplish. But December is certainly going to be fun with samples of the ink vent and the color vent. I'm excited about that. I won't be spoiling them here on my channel until the day has gone, you know. Normally what I do is I get into my ink journals and I do my samples and splatters and whatever else I decide to do, make the tiles, and then I'll share with you every few days. But because there's going to be 2 every day, one diamine and 1 ink vent, then I would imagine that rather than wait 7 or 8 days, I'm going to need to do it more often. So it's probably going to have to be at least, gosh, every 5 days would still be 10 inks. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. It may be a little lopsided depending on appointments and birthday and holidays and all of that. But as long as I keep it rather open and sliding, you know, not make it just drastic that it has to be exactly this day or every day. I learned not to try to do every day. I am really excited to bring that to you. A lot of people will be doing it, but everybody does things differently. And I already have such a catalog of tiles to compare with, which just reminds me, I was going to compare that purple Conway Stewart Edgecomb with the other purples, and I had the purple tiles laying right there, and I forgot. So we could go back over there, though. I guess there's no, like, the only rule is the rule that I make. So maybe we'll do that to end the video. That way I don't start jabbering about something I shouldn't. So let's go back over to the pen desk and we'll just do that, because for some reason I thought that might be really fun for anybody who maybe liked that Conway Stewart ink and wanted to see where does it fall among some of the ones that I already have. And no means do I have all the purples, but I have a lot of purples. So let's go do that. I'll be right back with you. Okay, here we are back at the pen desk. So here's the Conway Stewart Edgecomb. And this is what I had for thoughts when I was writing with it. To me, it seemed a lot more like Pilot Horsetail Murasaki Shikaboo. Even though this looks lighter in the tiles, I was getting those vibes the whole time I was writing with it. But when you paint it on, then you get such a dark, you know, a bright purple. Not dark, but bright. And it's, you know, it's a long way from Monteverde Purple Rain, which is one of my absolute favorite bright purples. And then, you know, like Tasha Murasaki, that has such a complexity in it, and it's just so unique and everything. But these were the ones that I felt like, you know, fell the closest. Even the Waterman Tender Purple, which I think is darker. It's more saturated, definitely. I need to look at them, you know, right now in a nib would be better, but this is not scientific. But definitely my Twisby Royal Purple, which I love. It appears a little lighter on the tile, but I wouldn't buy that. It doesn't feel that in my memory of it in a nib. It doesn't feel like that. And then the Conklin Vintage Purple, I need to get that out. I just saw that ink sample. I've got a whole tub of them that I've been going through in the library room for, you know, the next ones that I want to be using up, and this was one of them. I like those Conklin inks. So I just felt bummed that I forgot to do this, so I wanted to show you. This is where I get the most of my enjoyment, is to, you know, be comparing inks. And then, of course, Lamy Dark Lilac, which is just so saturated, so nice and dark, and it has all that gold sheen. It's, you know, it's way out in a different ballpark, but there it is. Okay, so I hope that you're having a good November, the best that you can have, and that you're staying positive and writing and enjoying the hobby. And I'd like to hear from you in the comments. And that's going to be my last. I have an apology because I'm behind on answering comments, but all these medical appointments and medical paperwork, and I've got good reasons, but it still doesn't sit well with me. I like to answer every single comment, or at least get around and like, and you know, make sure people know I've read them, and respond when there's something to respond to. You know, I like to do that. So I'll be making that effort now that things appear to, maybe they'll calm down for a few days or something, until it's time to do the deep cleaning on the house and cook Thanksgiving. So I will see you next time, and I'll see you in the comments. And thank you for your patience on the comment section, because I don't intend to ever let it get so, you know, behind in answering those. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.